white nightmare. As I lie upon my cot and bothered by a little pot, it's buzzed me now for half a day. Oh, will it never go away? I swung at it, but do not sweat. It's with me still, its name is pot. Tunnels and doors. I share 2 wives in San Francisco. Their other hubby's my pal Roy. I wonder which broom of what employ we joblessness awake and whisker. If it's desire and friendship, the city adores. What line of work could be more hip than going into tunnels and doors? To Mary Blue, oh, your touch is so much, nobody could guess how much more your caress would prove to behoove his forbiddenessness than what nude was portrayed in the Louvre by love's sea reclining were once brought to life, compressing it all to a fondle, match ecstasy some little western wife gives hubby with her exquisite fondle. Confidential. I don't know if you guys would want to know a gringo like me, but here no lies. The one time I could ever go so far as to attack a pig, I most ingloriously lost. I've since spent time on campus big, well versed in learning's cost, and trained in how a GI Bill and working student, but in art, has no time after class to kill in his office from the start. The people, we consumer shills, client marks, patron suckers, the captive market, dupes of the 1%, that is, the 100% monopolists. The other 99% of us in the U.S. don't get no of the by the for the no. We get downsized, outsourced, take back. We get real war over imaginary yellow cake. We get defunded. We get wage slavery. The crown of creation. Some paragon of animals. I'm sorry. There. Don't get bummed out. There are no blank slates. Our identities matter. And we are equal to our gifts. Hope is not irrational. Toby Lab. Looks like we've got the black and white dog girl. One who once moaned a black and blue doggerel. Now, since rescued, she croons harmonies, cheers sirens on toward their emergences. Gardens of the upper middle class, laid out in quilt of landscapes manicured. There's one that simply lets wild nature pass, with flowers, veggies graze, and woody herd, beneath of scattered orchards, varied fruit. The block, each house renewed or new Victorian, are not a style this patches can refute, but this goes back of houses the historian, as 'twere a new porch lot on old DeLorean. They whose works of joy are ones you can't employ. They may need of a vocation, but 'twill bring no elation, like some self-chosen art you can't destroy. Written with Mark Shelley. Firestorm. Here half the sky's a smoke-black night, but sports a small orange sun, and half's a breezy noontime bright, where orange-black flurries run. Up 3 flights hugging garden hose, I to apartments rescue yank. Also some verse, the life I chose, a box of porn to yank my wank. But first, the far eaves fire flakes I douse, when to the roof ascends the danseuse from 4G whom rakes adore, but luck on funds depends. Just back from cities in leotard, depicting 2 twining snakes, she brings 2 pictures and starts working hard at my same task, but pouring sings, glow little glowworm, glimmer, glimmer, shine little showworm, shimmer, shimmer, you go your way and I'll go mine, glow little glowworm, shine. Death wish for a mortal fate. The only real fun is fear. The acts of man or God inspire. The only joy in life is ire, alone, without a lover near. Expectant of chaotic war, the ennui frozen spirit wakes. Some hope for death is all it takes for hordes of men to dream once more, though only nightmares endgame dream. They're just the ones that will suffice to end in strife a fleeting life of boredom's stuporous extremes. Revenge's dampened embers flare, the soul in stifled rage amused, having friendship long refused desire for death has come to care, for conscience dies that can't confess like this, bound, bowed with innocence. Like friendship dies with competition, desire with possessive. The Sea Watch. The Sea Watch slows his torch swing, gooching, recalls his baby's port swing, smooching, but memory's salubrious pain is muffed in pot clouds once again. His heart's put off in epic rum compacts with time, which must forego desire's delights to earn what sum it takes art's mastery to know. Above the skies devoid of suns, except from countless pinpoint ones, the light that left them years ago, and patience won't dawn's advent slow. The fallibility jig. Old Tom and Jim thought democracy gave the greatest good to the mostly folk, but those capitalists could not foresee 99% in wage slavery's yoke. But when really big ideas fail, they fail really big. But ain't no use to weep and wail doing the fallibility jig. Old Henry Ford thought and thought till at last he'd figured out how to channel the blast and saved us all so much time and fuss. But the last horse laugh is on us. Oh, when really big ideas fail, they fail really big. But ain't no use to weep and wail doing the fallibility jig. Between the Irish and the English, each is better. For don't they share the poems of Yeats and Keats? And aren't they, each American trendsetter, admired till none some old world grudge repeats? To Mary, don't you think I'd rather be a winning revolutionary than just a revolting rebel? But epics finally weary me. Strange lyric lusts seem salutary. Their muses sweeter decibel. Past hope I've been by you, nymph found, redeemable although so rusty. Long off from love on such a tangent. My hunger's shackles give unbound. My fortune has grown somehow trusty. You heard my plea, so lame but plangent. The next step. No distension, contention, no dependence, disturbance. How they hang it, getting any? Got your back, bro. I'm a polarity reverser of passions and lusts. For the epic at its extremes can further team, can continue incremental polulation only through a pole shift. Lusts going from minus to plus, passions from negative to positive. To be continued. I knew that I was peaking early when neighborhood and brother guy all had to call me bully. Who guessed how father's blows more stung in childhood were rivalries and prize than those I dealt? None fully. But Captain I of childhood games saw brothers, now by dad distract, from sweet imagination's field. Him in high school sideways did act, coerced pretending joys to yield. Poem for Veterans Day. What with our endless wars and all, since our first last revolution, there was always the beloved national hero, the honorable combat vet, of one war or another, trying in his wildly undebriefed way to prove to his non-combatant countrymen how cheap we should all hold our manhoods. Wage slaves over the amber waves, peasant factotums in a free land, for purple mountains of exploitation. Very employable at the supervisor level. Our decorated soldiers. Peacetime is always the day to learn the efficacy of fear, until people realize how few people are screwing things up for everybody. until enough combatants muster the guts to challenge them. Then our two sides have a nice civil war, but that was long ago. There have been scads of foreign wars since then. Now slavery equals subsistence pay, the master's technology. Citizen prisoners are surveilled, but the overseer is still just a combat vet, undebriefed. The catch and squelched from the battlefield, who believe in intimidation, coercion, one-upmanship, bullying, braggadocio, free, fleering, sneering, snide, sarcastic, egomaniacal, power-mongering control. Whom they'd intimidate, I'll hearten. Whom they'd coerce, I'll liberate. To their pride, I'll show shamefastness. For their fleering, I'll return praise. If they're sneering, I'll be bolstering. To their sarcasm, I'll speak truth. If they're snide, I'll be companionable. If they're egomaniacal, I'll be egalitarian. Disdaining power, they'll worship empathy. No longer control freaks, they'll grow freedom loving. The combat poet will be given over to positive passions and plusser lusts, mustering out of the epic, moreover, the miracle moves to at last place his trust. Friendship, camaraderie can now replace, and concerted flirtation regardless of race. The battle-scarred vet and the hippie ex-con at last are free in a more peaceful place, when, with each, no aspersion had wrath, t'other cast on. Who owns America? Whether the war is won or lost, whether fought by conscripts or volunteers, whether paid for by taxes or massive international loans, surviving veterans return. Their non-combatant countrymen feel the veteran perfidy. Though boys still just can't wait till when they can sign up for soldiery and march in a killer parade. The veterans become cops. The veterans go into middle management. The veterans ride herd on everyone except the rich. After all, only the veterans knew the war dead, those exemplars of greatest love. So the veterans own the country now. They leave the peaceful folk and good with rights and freedom sorely won forfeit for security. What brotherhood is left but for the gun? Where blithe hill skaters of elation will risk a stormy night of fun without a thought to mere predation, may friends debriefing be begun. Normally I don't flirt with every hot young sex pot who turns me on. I'm a stickler for business decorum, upholding the fiction that feelings are inappropriate where the business is required to proceed efficiently here in the tropics, and sedately maintaining that holding desire in isn't a lie. But your support group must really love you. Variety of the non-jealous type. On one pair of girlfriends and one of Geyer, two pairs of each other's lovers true. What can friendship and desire with one another do? To the rebel POW newly repatriated, don't let the shame of the crimes you get caught for destroy the joy of the ones you don't. Just because you feel like the shell of a man, you don't have to act like a nutcase. What would love be like with a ravishing girl when pretty or cute would be cute enough? Nobody knows who anyone is at the Impressionists' masquerade, but you're acclaimed as a winning revolutionary, or you think you're just a revolting rebel. Mirror. If the conifers in the fog were as soft, inviting, reposeful boughs swaying aloft as they looked, their needles would have to be somehow spring-loaded, an absurdity. And if amid them a dim hoot owl sleek that quietly hoots with a lyrical beak, were grey as metallic as nectar of ducks, Would it not seem some glitch in reality's flux? Here on Earth, star-wise, for source beams, it's daylight, plus night's constellations, stranger. But Milky Ways may not give us fits like some Andromedan shape-changer. His singularity slowly falling into our black hole could find us a ball and gold. Though both star swarms planetlings must feel myriads of astral systems go bust. But to get back on track, I meant only to say day or night there's some starlight coming our way. So since 3 billion years from now won't be too soon, let us still mirror soul in a romantic moon. Guts aren't so hot if you aren't strong, but what good strength without them? A lot when heroes always find at length without love, strength is wrong. So what are the business implications of endorphin exhilarations? Don't they lay bare the dizzying deeps of human mind-heart unity? The lyric versifier need no longer overmock his fallibility with hunger metaphors for physical desire and succinct concupiscence. America, not a nation of people, but a wage-slave state of nebushes, not a nation by the people, but occupy demonstrations by the people, not a nation for the people, but for the 1%, the industrial monopolists, fascist warmongers, who think for the promise of their security, we're all happy to fork over any rights, freedoms, enfranchisement they need to steal or buy off. An up poem. The rain flashing, the gale rumbled. He skated out, cold, wet, dark, then sweeping downhill lightly, stumbled against wind so relentless, dark, that gravity itself was humbled. Is it some cafe that light reveals? To a bus stop bench he glided, doffed his ride for red spring heels, so the lightness stayed decided. With his pack of pinion wheels nearly into the black and hoisting, he went with bouncing stride, through the brazen doors him foisting, often a waitress smiling inside, with lips her tongue had been wasting. A levitation sensation so free, thus multiplied by 3, the wind his springs, her grin to see, that up near the hanging TV he hovered, above her bosom barely covered. She peered at him from her bottles and kegs, and laughed as he folded his legs. Epicurean decree, and if 1/365th of every year we celebrate, not always with some smoke or fifth, one New Year's Day, and at that rate we remain in the millennium's debt for 25 months of revelry yet. Let me vote for parties of genuine fun. Love-making is the type of ecstasy, like inferred sex with a willing hand and rested healthy energy. All pleasures else than this sort of joy must be some falling off distortion, alloy. But it's not in the spirit of festivity to proscribe or prioritize what females' fluids or fumes may be most apropos pleasures to exploited guys, thrust in their likely situation of having to party with great jubilation. Hope. I can't distinguish my friends from the deified, but can't convince myself lifelong devout atheist that there's for me some way out of my personal mortality, whether that be my natural doom as a poet or one merited by my other habitual sins and vices. Strangely, when I have finally vowed to embrace the inevitability of my ultimate and singular end, I grew relaxed. I was, after all now, free to regard history's love gods as more than mere devils. A magnetic shift from minus stoic epic to plus Epicurean lyric passions and lust shook my world. The result of a constant quest to empower identity, subjective self-definition, to honor the sanctity of mere personhood. After all, even we fated are accompanied by innumerable possibilities of preferable ecstasies. Grim, spindrift shades, free but forlorn, who reach the cave of the unborn, with whom do they agree to face mortality? They're nobody but one, if nobody but one another to share earth's lives, or face fate's call. As children of one planet mother, whoever dies does so for all. Settling, despite all the having been used, their evaluations as to my worth, their application of my gifts to their profit, TD-milked, wage slave, sedentary, static, despite my being thus bemocked, I do revive with regular exercise. I have an education, self-chosen. I do apply this mind to my own art. A mind of imagination and wonder, applied to self-chosen pursuits. What mere job stress or simple time-consuming day gig could discourage creativity from being true to the firework she's currently pursuing? However intermittent the pursuit, however interrupted when the object of creation is sustained by tenacious energies. There is one thing about the dawn. It might illumine problems worked on all night. One thing about Earth's dawn spin is this. It warms a person rather like a kiss. A mother many times the earth will whirl, whose spinning keeps her always just a little girl. Why long or smoke much anywhere for inspiration's fancies share than carbon monoxide in the air? Leave creativity's metaphor of temulation evermore, backwash pretending's downer field, for heart as well as mind is real. If heart were as good as brains, someone who succeeded in surviving 10 long years outside homeless, without supporting the wage slave system, a hill skater and biker from an early age, relishing risks, non-predatory, some such anonyms should win as big as wizards of invention, of hardware, software, and its apps, if heart were as good as brains. Tunnels and doors. Secret. None ask why man, that eldritch elf, e'er strives to be, upon what whim, the motherfucker to himself, if his fate is to him. Manifesto. Let the monopolists and their co-conspirators, the lords of avarice, greed, and graft, let all the boss's supervisors and owners' wage slaves' personnel files be searched to find the overeducated and underemployed, the desperate, selecting from among the countless shore shift drones, zombified on tranks and psychotropics, those dealt out by a change in political winds. Let the especially exploited, the particularly tortured, be given the free ride. Let them pursue their own bents of genius. Take the money from the capitalists to do it. 2. Let all the downtrodden factotums, too beleaguered to muster the moxie to garner training in self-chosen majors, Let their pains be acknowledged. The excruciating ennui of having incessantly to follow vapid job descriptions most mundane, near to the point of neurosis. Compensate them commensurate with their suffering. Sextuple their wages. Take the money from the capitalists. 3. The vast funds immediately crucial to rescuing Earth from cumulative depredations of technologies proliferating downstream of water, wind, or time. Let this money be taken from the 1% whose selfishness knows no bounds. 4. That all the living presidents be sent to The Hague to be tried for their crimes. 5. Let more really hot babes go for poet satyrs whose hair started disappearing as soon as their acne did. 6. At the intersexual convention at the current long-standing uneasy ceasefire in the vast war between the sexes finally be declared a permanent truce. Political poetry. 7. Political poetry, love poetry, work poetry, free love poetry, workout poetry. Put them all over the radio. Try it for a year. See what happens. 8. Cosmic poetry, friendship poetry, ghetto poetry, prison poetry. Put it all over the radio. Try it for a year. See what happens. 9. Since kids with twice as many parents are twice as likely to find nascent bents and proclivities sympathized with and would greatly benefit from parenting without jealousy and possessiveness, let a couple of marriages open to each other to firm up friendship with spicy rapture. Pagan plea. For everybody there must have been a guy and a girl in the prior generation who got it on. Probably lots, but at least once we can prove. And for everybody there must have been in the generation before that a couple of couples who got it on. Probably lots, but once each we can prove. And for everybody there must have been in the generation one more back 4 couples then who got it on. Probably lots, but once each we can prove. Since everybody's ancestry got it so on and on and on, may new goat boys and sea nymphs fawn on loving without jealousy, with a blither sensation of larking, inspiring their courting spark. Larking's to soar as easy as dive. Larking's energy is relish of simply being alive. Where there arrives in waves of breakers. Where there arrives in waves of breakers, water massive, liquid moving upon the sand, recline heartbreakers, so scantily clad they're much behooving beach bums to hide arousal and proposals of carousal. Not ogres be, but gentlemen walking, who limit to glances their gawking. Yet your sexy girl on any public beach, Frisco type bay or Bay of Fundies, reveals just what one on a bus would beseech her to lift up her clothes and show you her undies.